Hi children, welcome back to the online class of biology. In the last class you learned about the various processes involved in the process of absorption and conduction by roots. Today let us study about the uses of turgidity in plants. You know that turgidity is the condition of the cells in which it cannot accommodate any more water, or we can say it is a fully distended condition of the cell. It is very useful to the plants. It provides rigidity to the soft tissues like leaves. When there is not enough water in a leaf, it wilts. That is, its petiole and lamina become loose and the leaf droops down. This wilting of leaf is usually noticed when a plant is exposed to the hot afternoon and the amount of water lost during transpiration. So, when there is no sufficient water in the leaves, it droops or the leaves wilt. It loses its rigidity. Next is the turgor pressure helps to push through the hard ground, as in mushrooms and in a seedling. Sometimes the roots of certain trees have been seen to crack the walls or a concrete floor of an adjoining building. This again is due to turgor pressure. When a seed germinates, its cotyledons are pushed above the ground due to the turgor pressure. Next use is the turgor in root cells build up a root pressure. This root pressure helps the plant to conduct the water to upper parts of the. Next is the turgor in opening and closing of stomata. You know, stomata are the tiny openings found on the surface of the leaf. These stomata are surrounded by a pair of cells called guard cells. When there is sufficient water in the guard cells, they become turgid, and due to its turgidity, it helps the stoma to open. So the opening and closing of stomata is due to turgidity of the guard cells. The next use of turgidity in plant is the turgor movement. When we touch the leaf of a sensitive plant, it droops down. This drooping down is due to the loss of turgidity from one place to another. When we touch any one of the leaf of a sensitive plant, after a few minutes, the whole leaf droops down. This drooping down of the leaves is due to the movement of turgidity. At the base of the leaf, there is a structure called pulvinus. When we touch the leaf, the turgidity of the pulvinus moves from that area to another area. That is why the leaf droops down. There are few more examples for the turgor movement. That is the bending movement of certain flowers toward the sunlight. That is the sunflower turning toward the sunlight. And the sleep movement of the leaves of certain plants at night. That means sleep movement of leaves means towards the evenings the leaves of certain plants fold. Next topic is the root pressure. It is the pressure developed in the roots due to the inflow of water, brought about due to the alternate turgidity and fluidity of the cells of cortex and root hair cell. It helps in pushing of plant sap upwards. Actually, the conduction of water through the stem takes place due to the root pressure. It helps in the upward movement of absorbed water and minerals to the upper parts of the plant. Here is an experimental setup to explain the root pressure. Here you can see when we cut a well-watered potted plant a few centimeters above the soil and immediately fix a glass tubing it means of a rubber connection, water will start coming out of the cut end of the stem and rise up in the glass tubing. This rising water can raise the mercury filled to a connected manometer. Here in the experimental setup you can see that the cut stem of a well-watered potted plant is connected to a rubber tubing, and one end of the rubber tubing is connected to the manometer. Then when we cut the stem, the water rises up and it passes through the rubber tube, and then it helps to increase the mercury level in the rubber tube, in the manometer. So here this increase in the mercury level in the manometer is due to the root pressure. Actually, the root pressure is the pressure developed in the roots due to continued inward movement of water through cell to cell osmosis. When the root hair absorbs water from the soil, it passes from the root hair to the cortical cells, and from the cortical cells to the next cell, like that it passes. So this movement is due to the osmosis, cell to cell osmosis. So it is the pressure developed in the root due to the cell to cell osmosis which help in the ascent of sap. It is the main reason why the water is conducted to upper parts of the plant. So the ascent of sap takes place due to the root pressure. Another effect of root pressure in plants is guttation. It means the loss of water as tiny droplets along the leaf margins or their tips. This phenomenon is due to excessive root pressure. It takes place in the early morning. That means the loss of water as tiny droplets through the margins of the leaf or the tips of the leaves. That process is called guttation. It takes place through the special structures called hydatodes. Actually, the hydatodes are present at the end of the margins, the xylem tube and xylem vessels, in the veins, end of the veins. So through the margins of the leaf, the water may lose as tiny drops. That process is called guttation. This guttation is due to the root pressure, especially certain plants like banana and tomato, not in all plants. That's all about the process of absorption and conduction of water and minerals by roots. Next is the experiments on absorption and conduction of water by roots. There are many experiments given in the textbook. Here you can see an experimental setup to show that roots absorb water. Here there are two setups. First one is the experimental setup and the next is the control setup. Take two test tubes filled with water and add one drop of oil on the surface of the water to prevent the evaporation of water from the test tube. Then keep a plant in the test tube containing water. Another setup, a test tube with water but no plant. Keep the plant, both the setup for some time. You can see after few hours we can see that the water level in the first setup will be decreased due to the absorption of water by the roots. But in the control setup we can see that the water level remains same because there is no plant to absorb the water. This experiment shows that roots absorb water. Next experiment is to show that water is conducted upward through the xylem. You know, xylem and phloem are the vascular bundles in plants. Xylem conduct water and minerals and phloem conduct the prepared food from the leaf to other parts of the plant. So we can prove that. Take two leafy shoots such as those of a balsam plant which have been cut under water to prevent any air bubbles getting in. Keep their lower ends dipping in water. Remove about 3 cm long outer ring of the stem in one of them as shown in the figure, keeping the central part intact. And in the second one, remove the xylem vessels, or we can say, or remove the inner tissues and keep the setup in the beaker containing water. Here in the experimental setup you can see that in the first setup in the plant the outer tissues are removed and the xylem is remaining there. and in the second setup the inner tissues are removed and there is no xylem. So keep both the plant in a beaker containing water and observe it after few hours. After few hours we can see that the leaves of the first experimental setup will be alright because xylem is remaining there. So the water can pass through the xylem. But in the second setup we removed the xylem. So there will be wilting of the leaves. That means the leaves will be wilted because there is no xylem to conduct the water. So this experiment proves that water is conducted upward through the xylem. It is the forces contributing to the ascent of sap. What do you mean by ascent of sap? It is the upward movement of water and minerals from the root to upper parts of the plant. The forces contributing to the ascent of sap are root pressure, capillarity, transpiration pull, adhesion, etc. Let us see one by one. First one is the root pressure. It builds up sufficient force to push the sap in the xylem vessels up to certain height and may be enough for herbaceous plants. The second one is the capillarity. It is the narrow diameter of the xylem vessel causes the water to rise up to fill the vacuum created due to transpiration. You learned about the xylem in the previous classes. That is, xylem is a complex tissue. It contains xylem parenchyma, xylem vessels, etc. So the diameter of the xylem vessel is very narrow. That means that it is a capillary tube. So through that capillary tube, the xylem vessel is like a capillary tube. So through that water rise up to fill the vacuum created due to transpiration. As the leaves give out water by transpiration, the water can rise up to the leaves. So the capillarity helps to upward movement of water and minerals. Next force helping in the ascent of sap is the transpiration pull. As the water is lost from the leaf surface by transpiration, more water molecules are pulled up due to the tendency of water molecules to remain joined together. This tendency of water molecules to join together is called cohesion. So transpiration pull is one of the force contributing to the ascent of sap. The next one is the adhesion. It causes the water to stick to the surface of the cells, thus drawing more water molecules from below when the leaf cells lose water during transpiration. This pulling force provided by the leaf is especially important in tall trees such as pine, which do not have enough root pressure. So adhesion means stick together. Water molecules have a tendency to stick together to the cell surface, thereby drawing more water from below. So these are the forces contributing in the ascent of sap. That's all for today. Draw the experimental setup in the notebook. Learn the definitions as in the textbook. Read the textbook well. There are many experiments given in the textbook. Read all the experiments. Everything is not explained here. Only the important ones are given here. So read all the experimental setup given in the textbook. So next class I will give you a class test. Thank you.